Hi guys, this is Blowjos, and today I will be giving you a review of the Marvel Select-Avengers Iron Man figure. This just came out a couple days ago, and yeah, I'm going to give you the rundown on it. It's pretty cool, not the best figure ever. But anyways, let's get into this review. As you can tell, the box is basically the same as every other Diamond Select figure. In fact, it is the same, just different graphics, of course. On the side, there's a picture of Iron Man Mark 7, which would have made this figure totally awesome if it was Mark 7. But alas, it's the Mark 6. What the hell? Anyway, on the back of the box here, you see little ads for the Hulk, as well as Hawkeye down there, and also the write-up for Iron Man. It says, Tony Stark is not a god. He doesn't have super soldier serum running through his veins or a healthy dose of gamma radiation that makes him unbeatable. He only has his mind, and that mind has built one of the most advanced pieces of technology on Earth. The Iron Man armor may have been created in a cave in Afghanistan, but it was refined in Stark's personal workshop and has been completely rebuilt several times since its first brief flight. The Mark 6 represents the most advanced model to date, with a new, cleaner power source. But will it be enough to repel an invading army? And for those of you who have seen the movie, obviously not. He had to use the Mark 7, which would have been an awesome figure. But all things aside, I'll move on to the figure. Decent box, easily throw-outable. And here is the figure. I've currently got both his shooting palms on. I'm just gonna take a couple layers off my camera base here. I'll zoom in on the figure. It's pretty nice, pretty decent figure. Sculpt-wise, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 for the masked version. The mask actually does pop off, which I will do here in a second. First off, though, I'm just gonna show you. There's a scuff on the helmet there. That wasn't the company's fault. That was my fault. When I was trying to put the helmet on, because let me tell you, Tony Stark is not very pretty. Here, I'm just gonna take his base here. Nice little base, set it aside. Talk more about it in a bit. But I'm gonna try to take off this mask, which this is probably gonna be the last time I do so because it is tough. Oh, okay. So it just has two pegs here that slot into his face. I'm gonna give a zoom up on this face here. That is terrible. The face sculpt isn't so bad, and then you see the eyes, and it's like, is Robert Downey Jr. high, or what the F? You know, like, it's really bad in person. It may not be displaying it very well on camera, but it's really bad. So I'm just gonna slip the faceplate back on here. I had such difficulty the first time, and now it just pops on. Ugh. So for the face sculpt, I'm going to give this sculpting 8 out of 10 because it is a good sculpt. It's just those eyes that are really freaky. As for paint, I'm going to give it an 8 because they managed to do a gloss paint job here, which looks really nice and doesn't at all give the figure like a slimy feeling. Like it actually feels nice. It feels like a quality action figure. Decent for the Avengers lineup. And like I said earlier, I caused that scuff myself. The first time I put it on, I had to use my teeth, which was a little brutal. As for accessories, I'm gonna set Iron Man up against the wall over here. And obviously the biggest one is this huge base. Now, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because it is a fairly decent looking base, but I personally have no use for it. I'm probably gonna pose Iron Man in a flying pose, use like some kind of lines or something to hold him up in the air. But It was kind of difficult to put together. The things don't exactly line up on mine, but it does its job. It holds Iron Man well, but I'm just going to set it aside. He also comes with, besides the two firing hands here, Iron Man also comes with two fisted hands, which have nice paintwork, and they actually pop on and off real easy. So I will most likely be displaying mine with either both firing hands or with the right fisted hand. But for accessories, I'll give him an 8 out of 10 because he does come with the basic stuff that you would expect. Now, as for articulation, this is kind of where the figure starts to suffer. Oh, not starts, just kind of continues to suffer. The arms have a great range of movement. It's got single jointed elbows and single jointed hands, so you can get a decent amount of articulation, different poses out of that. His shoulder pads are on ball joints, so you can move them any which way you want. And the head is also on a ball joint, but it doesn't have very much posability. Here, zoom out a bit on this. This is literally as much as you can move the head. You get like a little bit of up and down movement and just barely any side to side. So he suffers a bit in that department. He does have an ab crunch, which is, it does its job. Doesn't get a lot of mobility out of it. No waist joint. And this is where the figure takes its biggest hit. The legs. That's as far out as you can move them. Like, for real. They've got like this huge cut into the inside of the leg for some reason. Not sure why, so you could do that or something. But that's about as far out as you can get the legs. And it's just very difficult to pose Iron Man. He has single jointed knees, which are clicky, and single jointed feet, but again, like, this is all you get out of these feet. And I wouldn't be so disappointed with this figure, but we were just treated to the Avengers Hulk from Marvel Select, and it was amazing. So, very disappointed with the articulation. Value, I'm going to give this guy like a 6.5 out of 10, and it's only because, like, this is an okay Iron Man action figure, but there are just so many better ones out there. Why couldn't Diamond Select make the Mark 7 for one thing? This is the Mark 6. This is the crappy one that he couldn't beat Loki in, that he had to use. He had to use Mark 7. Why did they give us Mark 6? Anyways, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 because in Canada I paid $25 for this and I'm not feeling it. So overall, to go over everything, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He's got decent paintwork, but that paintwork is, just be careful when you put on the face mask. Don't scuff yours, because now it's always going to be scuffed. Mine is, anyway. Sorry, here, guys. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because it is the Mark 6, which I've already stated several times. Should have been the Mark 7, but alas, he does have good paintwork. The articulation is not the best. It could have been a lot worse, but it's decent. You can get a lot out of the arms, which is nice. And I am glad that they did do an Iron Man for the Avengers, but it would have been nicer to see like a Black Widow or like a Thor, with the different costume, or even a Captain America from the Avengers would have been awesome. But alas, it is a good figure. If if you're looking to buy a good representation of the Mark 6 armor with the triangle instead of the circle, you know, this is a good choice. Just be forewarned that the leg articulation is not very good, and the head, you can't get a lot of, you know, dramatic poses out of it. So that's it for this review. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and keep collecting whatever it is you collect. This is Blojo signing out. Talk to you later, peeps.